Might be a good way to find love. Love at the crossroads of two cultures. We're going to take it a little more modern now. Ashwin Segar is a stand-up comedian who was born in India, and he's also single. Now, this isn't an advertisement for you, though, Ashwin. You might remember we were chatting to Ashwin last week about Tinder and dating websites as part of Reboot Your Life month on ABC. Well, Ashwin gave us such good information that we thought we'd ask him back for another chat about finding love in the Venn diagram of Indian and Australian cultures.
Yeah.
Is that what it's like, Ashwin? Is it a bit of a Venn diagram?
It sort of is, but I have no hope. I just realised because I work part-time and I'm trying to make a career as a stand-up comic. So in terms of Indian marriage, I'm about the same status as a drug dealer. You know, they're super low status. So I have no... Mum was saying you have to be full-time salaried employed now to have any shot at the Indian marriage market. So...
do you think the Festival of Light, Diwali, might be a good time to try and find love?
Yeah, I'm just wandering around these stalls, checking out what's going on. But this is interesting when it comes to Diwali because my parents were raised Hindu, but Christmas was bigger in our house than Diwali.
Really?
Yeah, because me and my brother cottoned on quite young that Christmas involved presents. And so we wanted our BMX from Jesus.
And Diwali doesn't involve presents.
Diwali, you get like a ladoo and a lantern, little Indian sweet and a lantern.
What's a ladoo?
Oh, it's a tiny yellow ball made of semolina. There'll be one around somewhere.
There's an Indian sweet stall just over there.
Yeah.
Is that the yellow ball?
Yes, that's a ladoo.
Oh, you'll have to get one.
It's not as famous as a samosa, so most white people haven't heard of it. But yeah, it's not bad.
Ashwin, is your mother disappointed in you then that you are not of high standing in the marriage market?
Well, she gets pressure from my aunties because they're always ringing up saying, what's Ashwin doing? When's he getting married? All of that sort of stuff.
How old is Ashwin now?
Well, 36 now, so that's ancient. That's middle-aged for Indians. But I think I'm just more excited about my business and stand-up, so I've just been putting it off for a long time.
Now, last week you were telling us about the Indian dating website Shaadi.com.
Yes.
But is it an arranged marriage website?
It's arranged in the sense, it's more like matchmaking. When people think arranged, I think it's kind of forced on the kid. That's just more a matchmaking site, which I can't unsign from now. I can't log in anymore, so I'm permanently on there. I just signed up as a test. So I'm getting
You can't log off?
No, they won't let me, because I set my profile for looking for an Indian woman aged 60 to 61 by accident, and they assumed I'm either a cougar hunter or some sort of spammer.
Is that actually true?
This is actually true, yeah, I did, because I thought I'd narrow it down so I didn't end up contacting lots of people, but it still went out to like 400 women. There's that many Indians.
Have you had a date?
Not yet, I'll just check my email. There could be one waiting.
Ashwin Segar, is there an expectation, though, from your parents that you will marry, and particularly marry within the community?
Mum and Dad would like it if I'd married. They've loosened up on the community thing. I think as the older you get, the more... Now they're just like, just marry someone. I think they've reached that stage. But I do have Indian friends who do want to stick to the community. It's not always to arrange marriage. I've got one friend who is religious. A lot of religious guys do, and he signed up for RSVP.com. But he didn't want to pay the 30, so he looked up Indian Christians, and there was 3 of them, and he found one he was interested in, but he didn't want to pay $30. So he found her online, looked her up, found her full name, went to her church for 3 months, worshipped the Lord with her, and now they're getting married and having a kid.
So, wow. So did he find her on Facebook or something?
He took her RSVP profile name and assumed what her full name would be based on her profile name, and he was right, and he found a picture of her.
And did she realise he was such a cheapskate for not paying the $30?
Yeah. Well, he had to confess within a week of meeting her, so they got through it, and it worked out. So Indians are finding other Indians through creepy memes.
Yeah, but that's very resourceful, isn't it? So yeah. Resourceful and, good with money.
And cheap, yeah.
Yeah, and now they're having a baby, you said.
They're having a baby, yeah.
And they're living here in Brisbane?
They live in Brisbane, yeah. They put a house together, so she was a bit weirded out when he told her the story, but, it's worked out for the best, so it's fine.
So are you going to do the same?
I don't know. I'm just not that excited about getting married and settling and having kids right now. It might come later, but there's a couple. I've got one other cousin who's the same. She's dropped out of the rat race in India to start a yoga farm stay and do all these non-marriage things. And so there are some Indians doing that now.
Mm. And so you were born in India. How old were you when you came here?
I was 1.
Right. Mm. And for your parents, they were obviously grown-ups when they moved here.
Yeah.
Do they talk about what the challenges were?
I think Mum and Dad have said this to me. It's just hard to see your kids sometimes end up quite different to you because they grew up in such a different world to us. So that must be hard. That's just a challenge that these immigrant parents take on without realising it, that their kids are going to end up potentially very different from them.
What was the world like that they grew up in?
Oh, so this is 1960s, 70s India. They grew up in a communist state. They grew up in Hindu families. It was just very different to the modern West. But they've been here 20 years now, so they're adapting. Mum comes along to stand-up gigs now. She covers her face when it gets a bit rude, and so she's into it. She spreads the
with
clips.
her hands?
Yeah, she does.
Shakes her head in
despair. I can't believe he said that. Yeah, so they've adapted.
And do you have siblings?
I've got one older brother.
One older brother. What's his life like in Australia?
He's a lawyer and he lives in London and he's married, so he's got a kid. So he's actually done he's ticked a lot of the boxes. And he married a Chinese-British lady, so it's not like everyone sticks within the community. I think some of our family have married Dutch or Kiwis or Chinese.
This is the global nature of our world now.
And I think it's good. It's not like our race is in danger of dying out. You know, there's enough, so it's all right for us to spread around a bit.
And Ashwin, if you were to marry, I guess, outside the Indian community,
yes.
Is there an expectation that your partner would become a Hindu?
No, not at all. In fact, Hindus believe that you get reincarnated and die a million times, so they're not so keen on having to get you into the religion for this lifetime. They'll assume you'll do it next lifetime. And not to mention, my parents are not that religious, and I'm not very religious either, so... Yeah, I wouldn't ask that of anyone.
Yeah. Are there particular things about the Indian culture that non-Indians just totally have no idea about? I mean, we know about Bollywood dancing, beautiful food, lots of other things, I guess. But is there something that we're missing?
So ladoos, you need to find out about ladoos.
Ladoos, the sweets, yes.
The Indian sweet.
That's right up my alley anyway.
Yeah. Indian wrestling, they like wrestling in India. That's not famous, but Indians love to wrestle.
Really?
Yeah, there's an oil wrestling tradition where they wrestle on dirt pits in India.
You ever done that?
I haven't ever done. I'd be terrible at it, but I should try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Indian wrestling and ladoos. I think that's the only two things you guys don't know about.
Okay, good. Well, you've given us that message now then, Ashwin Sikka. Thank you so much for that.
No problem.